I have absolutely no idea why it's taken me this long to make homemade Belgian style waffles. No reason at all for it, but it's finally time. You're gonna love this recipe. So there are basically two different types of Belgian waffles, a Brussels style and a Liege waffle. The Brussels style is what I'm going to make, and it's probably what you're most familiar with. It's got a liquidy batter, it's not overly thick, but it does use yeast as the leavening agent. No baking powder here, my friends. The Liege waffle is this cookie cake kind of waffle. It's got chunks of pearl sugar in there. It's a little bit more crunchy. It's really thick. But for me, it's all about the Brussels style waffle, especially when it comes to breakfast. Could be Mother's Day, Father's Day, just a great breakfast to serve up to friends, family, or a special occasion. Now, I will say this. A Brussels style waffle classically is more rectangular in shape, while a Liege waffle is definitely more round. The problem is I only have a round waffle iron. Maybe you do too. It's going to be okay. The shape isn't going to dictate the flavor. So we do need to knock out a little bit of prep while making this batter. Sound good? Let's cook. We are going to start off by separating some egg yolks from some egg whites. Now I know the instructions says 3 large eggs and there are 5 eggs here. I do only use 3 eggs in this recipe. I've got a few extra because I want to show you a few different techniques on how to separate. The first one is by cracking it and then sort of by bobbling the yolk back and forth while letting the whites run down on each side into the bowl, just like this. You go back and forth until most of the whites are gone, or just about all of them. You won't be able to get every last little gram. Then set the yolk to the side. The other way is by running the whites through your hands. I'm going to use a glove here just to keep safe. And just sort of move it around and let the whites move in between your fingers into the bowl just like this. Maybe sometimes give a little pinch with your finger to get rid of all of it. Okay, great. Now what we're going to do is set that to the side in the bowl with the yolks. Now set all of this to the side. We're going to use it in a few minutes, so don't put it too far. And at this point, what I want to do is sift some flour. I've got some all-purpose flour. We're just going to run right through this sifter. If you don't have a sifter, a strainer will work perfect here. So go ahead now and add in some salt. And then just simply churn on your sifter. What this is going to do is help make sure everything is smooth in your batter. The Brussels style waffle needs to be very smooth, no chunks at all. Once it is sifted, set it to the side, and now in a stand mixer, what I'm going to do is add in some warm milk in between 150 and 118 degrees Fahrenheit. I like to be a little bit warmer because the bowl is always cold and it will absolutely drop the temperature to that perfect temp. Now add in some sugar, followed up with some active yeast. What I like to do is sort of sprinkle it around evenly all over the top of the milk. I don't know why I do this. I feel like it's just easier to incorporate. Instead of just dumping it in the center and hoping it makes its way around with the sugar and the milk, then what I do is grab a whisk and then vigorously, and I mean vigorously, whisk everything together for maybe only 10 to 15 seconds. Want to make sure it is completely incorporated. So what we're going to do at this point is let it sit for about 8 to 10 minutes or until it does form a raft. Now, I know it's hard to see, so I'm going to run my finger through here. You'll see a line that separates. The raft is on top, the milk is on the bottom. This is perfect. Now, if you don't have active yeast and you have instant yeast, you can absolutely skip this part. No need to wait for the raft. So now we are going to add in our egg yolks to that milk, yeast, and sugar mixture, followed up with a little bit of vanilla extract for some flavor. You could use some vanilla seeds here. That would take it to another level for sure. And now I've got some melted unsalted butter. Remember, you control the salt, not the butter company. Now fix the whisk attachment to the stand mixer, and we're going to mix this on medium speed. We really just want to incorporate everything, make sure the eggs are nice and broken up and mixed into the milk mixture. Now, if you do not have a stand mixer, you can absolutely use a hand mixer in a large bowl, no problem. So what I'm going to do here is turn the speed down to low when adding in the flour, because I do not need flour bombs flying out of the KitchenAid mixer all over my kitchen. My wife would not be very happy with that. So slowly add it in, make sure it is completely combined, get all the little last bits of flour in there. And then what I like to do at this point is crank the speed up a little bit to about medium. Again, like I said earlier, we need this batter to be nice and smooth, no chunks at all. Once it is to this perfect consistency, what we're going to do is turn it off. Let's go ahead and lift it up. take off the whisk attachment, give it a couple little knocks, get all that goodness out of there. But what we want to do is pour this batter to the side in a bowl. And the reason I'm doing this is because we do need to mix some egg whites. So go ahead and scrape all of that goodness out of the bowl. Once it's in there, go back, wash that KitchenAid bowl very well with hot soap and water, because we need to whip some egg whites almost to a meringue stiff peak consistency. So add your whisk attachment back on there, and then go grab those 3 egg whites that we set aside and pour them right in there. Now turn the speed onto medium high, and this takes about 3 to 4 minutes at this speed to get these to a stiff peak consistency. It will go pretty quick, so be sure to keep your eye on there. And when you know they're stiff peaks, and especially without a cream of tartar for a stabilizer, just lift it up. You see how it's kind of stuck in this position? It's not dripping. It's pretty solid. This is perfect. So knock it off of there, and then take that bowl over to the batter that we set aside and scrape all that goodness into the bowl. And then really take your time here to fold the egg whites into the waffle batter. I know a lot of times people like to rush this and just mix it in there. You don't want to do that. Take the time to do this. We're cooking here, okay? We're not beating anything. We're cooking, and it's time to show a little love, my friends. So take the time, fold it in there. Once it is to this consistency, I'm going over to my favorite little Cambro containers that has the measurements on the side. Pour everything in there. It will be about 1.5 quarts worth of batter, maybe a little bit more. But what we want to do is let this proof. We want to let it rest. We need that yeast to activate a little bit more. It's going to add more flavor, add more fluffiness, more deliciousness to our batter. So loosely just add the lid here. Do not completely fix it to the top. And then my little trick, as you've seen before, when I work with any sort of dough or batter, what we're going to do is leave it in the oven that has been completely turned off, cracked, so the light is on there. Get to that perfect proofing temperature of around 90 degrees. After 1 hour, let's bring it out. You can see that it has doubled in size. Let's take the lid off, and you can see lots, and I mean lots of fermentation bubbles. This is absolutely fantastic. You don't have to get it perfectly until doubled, but definitely so those bubbles are activated in there. And so I have a waffle iron. Hopefully you do as well. This is electronic. There are some that work on the stove. Once it is preheated, just going to give a little spray with some no stick spray, and then add a ladle to our batter. Give it a few mixes here. It will sort of tamper back down. And then add about a ladle to a ladle and a half full of batter onto the waffle iron. And then I'm about at a heat of 5 out of a total of 7. So it has 7 different temperatures. I'm about 5. I don't like overly brown, super dark waffles. So it only takes about 2 to 3 minutes to cook. Come back, let's give it a look. That's about as brown as I like it. If you want to go farther, fine. If not, no worries. And my callous fingers, I'm just going to take this off there and set it to the side. I've probably already eaten about 2 whole waffles. I can't help myself. They're just so dang delicious. I love waffles. One of my all-time favorite breakfasts. And when you make it homemade from scratch and use the yeast like you're supposed to, oh my gosh, it's just so good. It is all about these fundamental basic cooking techniques. My commies, my chefs in training out there, you know that. You need to put them in practice, knowing how to help things rise by using that oven trick, when to use yeast. All of these good things, putting into practice every day, your food will be that much more amazing. We are, though, going to plate up right now because I can't wait any longer in slow-mo. Just going to break these up into little wedges and serve them up on a really small plate. Want to make sure you can see all of this goodness on here. And then, of course, I'm going to hit it with lots of powdered sugar. You can also serve this up with maple syrup, but I think the powdered sugar just adds so much goodness. And you can also serve it up with fresh whipped cream as well. And what would waffles be without fresh berries? My oh my, check out this beauty. Forget the outro because I want to eat these. Subscribe to my channel. Definitely like and share this video, and check out this video right here because I made it for you. You'll love it. We'll see you on there.